I think a prostitute would really fit you.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think so?
I think your type is prostitute.
Ah.
You could
type
look me in
look
my
like
face and
prostitute.
tell me
You
that.
narrate me, man. You narrate me.
It's Grace Space.
Okay.
Yo. We're glad to have you guys in this great space. We are your hosts. And Brandon, thank you guys all for liking, sharing, subscribing, getting the videos out there.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's 2024. We said that in the previous video.
Yeah.
But it's 2024.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
We're coming this year with motion. I can't say that. But yeah, we're coming this year with motion, and we're gonna. Yeah, so we're coming with bare motion. We're coming with bare commotion. You know, yeah, all the words that end with shun. Yeah, we're coming with all of them. So the verse of the day is.
We don't have one. Okay.
Do we have a verse?
The verse of the day is that's going to introduce our topic is taken from Hosea chapter 1 verse 2. When the Lord began to speak through Hosea, the Lord said to him, "Go marry a promiscuous woman and have children with her. For like an adulterous wife, this land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord."
Yeah, so we have an interesting topic today for you guys. We're going to explore the book of Hosea. Get out your Bibles, get out your book and your pen. Hosea is somewhere in the Bible.
Daniel and Hosea. So
Which one?
after Daniel.
Right before Big Bad Amos. You know the Amos cookie them?
Amos.
Yeah, Amos cookies are nice. So we're gonna explore Hosea and see what the Lord told Hosea to do. Get out your Bibles and let's have a great time.
Wonderful conversation will be led by Bishop Kevin Holt.
Yeah, Kevin's gonna lead it.
Indeed.
He came to me one day and said, "Yo, I think we should talk about Hosea." And I was like, "Who?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Who's that? Who that?" But yeah, we're gonna talk
Hosea
about
and Gomer.
Hosea and
Yeah.
Gomer. I don't know who you want to describe it,
Yeah.
but yeah, just some brief context. If you haven't read Hosea, it was, I believe, at the time where Hosea was in the period of, I think, King Hezekiah. If I remember. He was in the period of, like, in the Bible, 1st and 2nd Kings, where they documented the kings. He was in one of those periods with, I think, Hezekiah and Jeroboam and them man.
Jeroboam's time.
Jehu and, you see me? Them man there. So he was around.
For short, it's Jehoram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jehoram, for short.
Yeah. Don't come for us in the comments about the names, but he came around.
Please.
Hosea was in that time, so we're gonna explore why God told Hosea to marry.
Yeah, and we're
Gomer.
gonna have a nice little
Kevin.
topical topic.
Take it away.
Take it away.
We have to give a little backstory.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also want to thank my friend Shauna Lee. She was the one who really sparked this.
Oh, she sparked it.
conversation with
Okay.
me.
Yo, Shauna
Big
Lee.
up yourself,
Thank
Yeah,
you.
big up yourself,
Shauna Lee different, you know.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
To give a little backstory, really. So Hosea was a prophet. And,
Yeah.
Gomer was a prostitute.
Yeah.
So in that time now, this was taking place in what we call northern Israel.
Okay.
Because at that time, Israel was split into two.
Yeah.
Israel was
Yeah.
split into
Yeah,
northern
northern
kingdom
and
of Israel
and
and
southern.
then the kingdom of Judah,
Yeah.
which is the southern
Kingdom.
Israel.
Yeah, southern Israel. Yeah.
So northern Israel was really going against God's will. And God, Israel are God's chosen people.
Yeah.
And they were worshipping Baal. They were doing sacrifices. They
Different
were having,
idols and
they were having sex in the temple of God as sacrifice and so on, so that their land could be fertile. So I think what was happening is that God dry up the land and nothing wasn't, coming.
Yeah.
That's how come they started doing a bag of them something where them not supposed to do. And we all know Israel. Like Israel is known for this.
Yeah, they're
Like,
famous for
doing
being
a bag of
ungodly.
foolishness.
child there. When
Yeah.
nothing what you do for them just keep on a go back, keep on a get trouble. And, you know, that was Israel during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened now is God really wanted to use Hosea as
An example.
an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to use Hosea as an example. He wanted to show Israel the situation in a unique way.
Mm-hmm.
And we can all attest that God always use
Yeah,
unique ways to show some things.
Yeah.
So in Hosea 1, God said to Hosea, I want you to go forth and, you know, take a promiscuous woman as your wife.
Yeah.
Imagine if God come to you, or somebody, or your parents say, you know, say, I think a prostitute would really fit you.
You think so?
Yeah,
You think so?
I think your type is prostitute.
Ah.
You
The
could
type
look me in
look
my
like
face and
prostitute.
tell me
Mommy, you
that.
narrate me, man. You narrate me.
Yeah. So,
You can imagine somebody come and say that to you, but boy.
I don't know. I don't know how would I
has-
think.
The thought has
Yeah.
never crossed my
I'm pretty
mind.
sure most persons wouldn't even think of that.
Yeah, that wouldn't cross your mind. Yeah, that wouldn't cross your
So
mind.
the God come and say that to Hosea husband. Hosea must be like,
And I can probably even imagine how scandalous it would have been for the prophet of
Right.
God to have a wife that just sleeps around.
Yeah, but what would make any different for what the children of Israel was doing?
I
Yeah,
know.
but
I'm
I
just
think-
saying.
If you understand what I'm
the
saying.
scandal at the time would
I
have
think
been
if you go back a
crazy.
little bit, even Hosea was being disobedient to God at the time. If I'm wrong, please correct me somebody. But I think that was the case. Also, he wanted to show Hosea or give Hosea a lesson also.
Okay, yeah,
Using
okay.
him.
You're using
So-
him, yeah. Mm.
He said, you know, Hosea, I want you to take this. Take a woman, a promiscuous woman, a prostitute as your wife.
Harlot.
And it's very important also that God did not say to go and take Gomer. He said to go and take a promiscuous woman. And he was the one who went out
And selected Gomer.
and selected Gomer.
Yeah.
So I can you imagine during the selection process, he's like, well,
Yeah, for just
So was it like
he
did
was
he,
the best one of the
Yeah, he probably chose the best one. Yeah, he probably chose the best
He
one.
is the best.
The best looking
The
one.
best,
Yeah.
the best
I
of both
mean,
evils or something
why
like
not? If you're good here, might as well you just
Yeah.
got all out.
Him
'Cause
walking.
why
Yeah.
why would I want to take
The worst one.
the worst one?
Well, there isn't a word. Yeah.
It's like
Alright.
a hot
Yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah,
want to take the
so-
worst. Yeah. You wouldn't want to take the worst looking one, but it is what. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So Hosea, you know, took Gomer and they had a son,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rohama. Gomer had, you know, the son, and they called him.
Wasn't the first one Jezreel?
No, it's
The
not
first
the
one, let me
last
see.
one.
I think the first one was Jezreel.
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
one was Jezreel. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
Jezreel was really a promise and really a punishment in a way to
Yes.
Israel because of what King Jehu did
Mm-hmm.
in Jezreel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God had asked, or God sent someone to anoint him. I don't remember exactly who it was, but God sent someone to anoint him. That's King Jehu,
Mm.
so that he could, you know, wipe out some of the persons who weren't, you know, I guess obeying him and so forth. And that included the whole line of Ahab.
Yeah.
Yes. I would know Ahab and
Jezebel.
So he did that. He was anointed to do that. But I think what happened was I don't know if it was anger or the wrath or whatever. He didn't do it like how God wanted him to do it. So the Bible describes it as a bloodshed that happened in Jezreel.
Yeah, massacre.
Yeah, and
A
not
massacre.
and not necessarily like a victory
Yeah.
in the name of the Lord. Yeah. I get you. I
So
get
God
you.
wanted to punish the northern kingdom again for
Mm-hmm.
that. So this is why he said, name that first one Jezreel.
Yeah.
I'm actually searching right now for
The
the
next one is the girl, and she's
Lo
Rohama.
Rohama.
I remember this so distinctly because
Yeah.
the meaning of her name is so awful.
Yes.
I think her name is No Mercy.
Mine says, which means not loved.
Not love?
Yeah, in the NIV it says not loved.
Yeah, it
I
says,
remember
does.
reading that
which
and
means
just
not loved.
imagining.
Yeah.
In this
in
one-
verse, I think it's verse
Verse-
6,
yeah.
it says, call her Lo Rahama, which means not love. For I will no longer show love to Israel, that I should at all forgive them. Yet verse 7, yet I will show love to Judah, and I will save them. So this is where, the northern kingdom is kind of separated, and the kingdom of Judah is being.
I think in a commentary, like they were describing, I think enduring world, they were kind of describing it. They were saying that with the northern one, they had more of the unruly kings, and the southern one had the kings that stayed on the path that God wanted to stay. So I think they explained that the mercy that God showed to the southern one is not because they were not like they were different in terms of their obedience, but he showed mercy. He showed mercy to them, and like in a just way where he was like, these people are following me, so I will keep them close to me, while the northern, you guys aren't following me at all. So maybe that's why he called her no mercy, because to show that you guys aren't following me at all. I think that's the commentary was technically explaining about those guys.
So then Gomer also had another son, which we called Lo Ami, which means not my people, for you are not my people, I am not your God. And that's in verse 8 and 9. So I think this shows God's frustration with Israel. And you can imagine God said, "Well, I know my people." Like,
imagine like God said out of his mouth, like, I'm fully disowning you, bad man. I don't know you. You don't know me. We go our separate ways. You can imagine that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That really is crazy.
And I think something the same as listening to the same commentary that Brandon had mentioned from Enduring Word. And the person was saying that the Lo Ami could also kind of come from the fact that, Gomer was promiscuous. So there is a very good chance that Lo Ami was not even Hosea's kid. So not my people could maybe even have a double meaning to it. Where Lo Ami,
I didn't even think about
like that. You really probably could just not be my people. So that was also something I found interesting from that commentary. But
so they had children, and then I said Gomer was with Hosea, but then Gomer went back out into the streets. Because she's a wife now, and Gomer went back out in the streets. And imagine you as a husband, Brandon. God say if you marry this woman, and you're alright, okay, we're gonna marry her because God said for marry her. And then now you suffer some emotional abuse. You can imagine the emotional abuse what that brother there go through.
But I don't know, because
just run through room.
I was probably thinking Hosea was
sorry for the soul.
I'm thinking like Hosea he was probably thinking that at some point Gomer would like come to her senses and think, let me
buckle down. Like, I'm a wife now.
Let me settle down. But no, she's still
doing her job.
She's still doing her job. She's still doing her thing. And
she's like, I might be married and I might have kids, but I have a job.
And I
think she was fulfilling that job.
If you really think about it, it's the same way with at some point in the Old Testament, the children of Israel, they come back to God, right? But then it's as if, because in the commentary they said that at some point we don't know if she was really out there, but they said that at some point we become bored. And at some point we become bored or complacent. Because we're back now.
Falling back into old habits.
Falling back into old habits. And then it's the same relationship where we come back to God, but the intention, the drive, and the motivation that we think that we had slowly dies. And probably for Gomer, she just found Hosea boring, to be honest.
But like, even when you
but hold on though. But it's the same way how sometimes we are with God as well. Sometimes we'll find it a little bit boring and find it a bit too rude. Whatever, rudimentary.
I think it's just we want to fulfill our
That's not
flesh.
it.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's definitely, you can see the comparison there, because Hosea would be God in this instance.
Yes.
And
correct.
Gomer
Is Israel.
is basically Israel
Yeah,
or
Us.
us. So God is still holding on to us despite us keep running away and finding stuff to do out in the world, and then we'll come crawling back with the tail between our legs, and then the next minute that you got out there back again.
Yeah,
a dance
so
and a
probably
go on.
yeah.
So I feel like it's definitely, the story is definitely a reflection of who
The children of
God
Israel were.
is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or God was for the people of Israel, the children of Israel.
because it took a lot. Sometimes it took a lot to happen, and God would do a lot for them to come back. Famine, wars, and they still wouldn't come back. And it took something to happen, and they'll come back, and then they just started slipping and falling again. It's like they couldn't make up their mind to not have one foot in and one foot out.
Yeah.
When I think about it, sometimes, like we know that the Lord is merciful and He's good and He'll extend grace. But this goes to show you there's going to come a point where you must suffer the consequences. Like I think sometimes we only see God as the merciful and the loving and the kind, but He's also a just God. And He will mete out the consequences. Exactly. So it's just like, you've been doing all of this foolishness for how long? You don't think, say, God, I got boop in your neck back? Like, you don't think something is coming for you just because, oh, you know, God, I can always ask for forgiveness. Like it's not that bad. Nothing has really hit you as hard yet for you to realize that rock bottom has a basement, for you to really line up yourself. But if you continue as Israel did, your day of reckoning will come. You might just have a I am not your God and you are not my people kind of moment, and you don't want to get there.
Because even you were saying something?
No.
Because even in First and Second Kings at the time, they went through kings like it was nothing, you know. I remember like the grandfather was alright. He was good. The son was good, and like the next son, then the grandson, he was like, nah, change that.
Yeah.
And then he's worse, and then his son becomes worse, and his other son's like, no, we need God back in here. And then bam, it's like, and then it's almost like a cycle.
Yeah.
It was like a cycle, and I don't know if maybe that's what Gomer was up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said she come back with her tail.
Even when I think,
tail bleeding her
but
leg.
guys, like when you think about it, back in those days, like Mandy, you said it was her job, but I'm thinking to myself, back in those days, wasn't like the household really maintained by the income of the man, so you didn't necessarily have to work as a woman.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just like it's not necessarily just her job. She went because she wanted to.
She wanted.
It's not because she had to. She went because she wanted to.
Yeah,
when you think about it, back then it was a real
the homemaker.
Yeah, it was a real patriarchal society where the man went out and worked and the woman you stayed at
home.
home.
Some background information, and I was saying during that time, in northern Israel, there was kind of like a change in as a relates to a political change.
Okay. With you mean the Assyrians? You mean with the Assyrians or something else you talk?
Something similar to that. I can't remember exactly what I was reading, but it was saying that persons were beginning to start going out and finding other means of making money. Persons really wanted more money, so the rich became richer, the poor became poorer.
Okay.
So it wasn't
like inflation, like what's the word? Not inflation.
The great, there's a word
like a depression, like a Great Depression or something.
I wouldn't know, not that, but there's a word for it. I can't remember, but you know, the rich became richer, the poor became poorer. So that's why you find women now going out to find work.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's either you're rich or you're poor. The middle.
Yeah, there's no middle anymore.
But I also want to bring it back to Hosea, and you know, we know that Gomer went out a couple times out of the marriage, and Hosea went and bought her back. Bought her back and bring her back into the house. And I think even one of her sons, I think he wasn't so sure if it was even his child.
Yeah, well, I mean.
But nevertheless, also, since we're closing, I want to ask, what what do you think, or how do you think a man should love his wife? Based on this story, how do you think a man should love his wife, or a husband should love his wife?
Grief. Wow.
Well,
Let's ask you, since you're here
No, man,
asking
I
the
made ask
question. No, I'm asking you right now.
all right.
How do you think
Alright,
a husband should
so
love
based on this
Or-
his
story,
wife?
Okay, go
so
ahead.
based on the story, I can also see where, in a marriage, a husband should always be loving. I think this is really a story about love, God's love for Israel, Hosea's love for Gomer.
Mm-hmm.
Because do you think, isn't there some part of Hosea that, even though it was an instruction by God, that, Hosea kind of loved this woman, loved this prostitute, and that's why he kept on going out and bringing her back in?
Maybe I think, well, you could say that, but also it's because he got a command.
Yeah, I'm saying
You get me? Like,
But
a
then
Even though he got the
was commanded to love her as well.
command to love her.
Yes,
I don't
he
remember that part,
was.
but if he was,
Further down.
we know that he
when
got a
brought
command.
her back.
And it was his, if it's you get a command, marry a prostitute, the Lord didn't say divorce the prostitute. So if she gone do her business, you have to go find her, dust her off and carry her back home and feed her. You see me?
But remember,
So-
God said, husbands, love your wife as how.
Christ
Loved the church.
But she was, but
But
she wasn't faithful in this
she
context.
wasn't faithful, but
Yeah.
what is love?
Well-
what is love? Isn't this love right here?
Based
Love
on the
Love keeps
analogy,
no record of wrongs in a
Yeah,
boss.
Exactly. Isn't this love right here?
I mean, I see your point because
Isn't this love right
the whole
here?
thing about as Christ has loved the church isn't perfect. Just like how Goma
wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
and Christ loves us despite our imperfections,
Yeah.
the same way he does love her despite. But I do understand that if it could be out of obligation at first, and then maybe
He
he
developed.
grew, he
Yeah,
grew to love
yeah,
her.
I can understand that.
Because another question I was talking about with Sean Lee is, how should a husband really love his wife as it relates to the Bible? Or is there anywhere in the Bible that describes
it.
these? So this is how I love my wife.
Well,
And this is the story that we came across.
yeah.
It sheds some light on the unconditional
Nature of love.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even in the
In
face of
Ephesians,
unfaithfulness.
either Ephesians, I think Paul spoke about that. It's Ephesians or Colossians, one of them. It'll be up on the screen at some point.
Watch out.
He said,
Go on, promise. Go on, promise.
New year, new
So-
thing, same thing.
wait, the last episode suffer up there, you mean?
Go on, Sean.
Alright, internal. So, the Bible says that husbands love your wives.
Yes.
Yeah. Bible says that husbands love your
Everybody
wives.
fall asleep. When you turn off on the phone.
Yeah, husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And based on in Hosea, what God used Hosea to represent, God used Hosea as an example to represent his love for the children of Israel,
Yeah.
you could say, yes, that is an example of unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And if God says, husbands, love your wives as Christ of the church, because Jesus was willing to die for the church, right? So that's one aspect that Paul spoke about to the Ephesians,
Mm-hmm.
where he says, you should love your wife like Christ of the church. You should love your wife, be there for your wife, hear her out, understand what she's going through and whatnot. Maybe find solutions. Sometimes let her find her own solution.
But what about
So that's what was described.
Exactly what is in here when.
But that would be
Suppose your wife cheats on you. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
It's simple as it is, not. Suppose
Yeah.
your wife cheats on you.
if my wife cheats on
You
me.
still.
Yeah.
Does that love include taking her back?
Jeez,
Yeah. And that's the question that we'll maybe continue on the next episode of this great space.
Oh my days.
Because
Because remember, even back in that day, divorce was permitted on the grounds of unfaithfulness.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah,
could
yeah.
have
And
divorced
even though
her.
it's still the
Yeah,
law.
on the grounds
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
it's still the
unfaithfulness, you
law.
can get divorced.
Mhm.
And in a time such as this, when divorce is so rampant, would you stay or would you go?
I saw. All right. So I remember there was this movie.
Oh dear.
Wait, we stopping or we just keep going?
Yeah, stop it.
Stopping.
Okay.
All right.
I guess we'll stop at would you stay or would you go?
So, well, no.
And no.
Oh. So we're gonna have a part 2.
Think about that question.
Maybe depends.
Depends.
Maybe depends. Yeah, I have to, because we just left them with this big cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But
We
even,
can have a part 2.
even the verse that you were passage that you were referring to.
Yes, we need to
Brandon,
end.
I know.
Yeah, guys.
No, but we
No,
need-
make
so,
it end
we
because
need
know
end,
the
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so in that situation, would you stay or would you go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's your
Mm.
truth?
Or would
Yeah.
you give up or
Yeah.
continue
You
trying?
give up. Yeah.
Mm.
So let us know in the comments down below.
Yes, please.
Thank you guys all for liking, sharing, subscribing, getting the videos out there.
Yes.
It's a new year. Thank you guys for rocking with us into 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, the way, the truth, and the life. Get to know him today. And if you don't know him,
You're moving mad.
you're moving mad, bro. So guys,
Let's
thank
not
you
move mad in
again for
2024.
watching this
Follow our
Grace
socials.
Space. Yeah, what she said.
On Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at
Yeah.
This Grace Space.
Yeah, do what she said.
All right, bye,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Alright, bye.
Bye.